Okay, so hello everyone, my friends out there in YouTube land. I have to make a pair of earrings for an order, so I thought I would take you along with me. However, this is more of an intermediate, advanced job just because of the soldering and other techniques that I use. However, they're going to be similar to these earrings, which are made with flat copper, 24 gauge copper, and I also put some semi-precious beads on there to make a nice little design. There we have it, if you can see it. I don't know, I'm blind as a bat without my glasses. Okay, so what we are going to do is make a smaller version, and I did one of the earrings so it wouldn't take forever. So the smaller version here, very cute, I love it, very cute. And so we're going to make the matching one to this one. Now I have a myriad of tools here, but just to let you know how I got to this point here is that I cut out the small squares from the 24 gauge flat copper. I used my ball peen hammer. Okay, I love these Fretz hammers. And I put it on my bench block and I texturized it. And there's a smaller side and a bigger side here. Okay, these are fantastic jewelry hammers. They're very accurate. Then you can use a dapping block, which is a tool that has a bunch of like holes in it. You can make it concave or convex just by banging your hammer. I decided to use my anvil today because I didn't want to drag out my dapping block. And this is good for a myriad of projects. May be familiar to from Looney Tunes, Bugs Bunny. Always getting hit by one of those. Anyway, then I put it in this dapping block here, like see. And I hammered it so it would get that nice curved shape. So when you put it on, it's going to curve to your ear, like so. Okay, so you see how it's got that nice curve to it? Okay, and then of course I soldered on this accent braided sterling silver. Now, I have several different types. I have a tricolored one that I braided and made that I utilize for other pairs. I have just a plain sterling silver braid. But today I'm going to be using a small gauge. This is also a 24 gauge wire braid that has been hammered flat, okay? And that's the accent you see on there. So that's how I got to that point. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the blank that I cut out and hammered and dapped. And what we're going to do is we're going to match this up to the earring. And I'm going to add it to the earring. Okay, so right about there, like the other one. Okay. Jeez, I'm not good at this. All right. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and do that. And then we're going to go ahead and do a little bit of soldering here. You want to make sure that they're pretty even. Okay. So that's going to bend over on this side. We're going to go ahead and use our flush cutters to cut the other side. Okay. And I always save these because you can use them for lots and lots of accents on pendants, jewelry. Okay, so I take my needle nose pliers or chain nose and go ahead and secure that to the back of the earring, because we are going to be soldering here, and we're also going to be soldering on the ear stem, the part that goes inside your ear. So we've got a nice little design here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use an easy flow solder. There's 3 different kinds of solder, and this one I like because it already has the flux in it, and also it is an easy flow, and I really just need this to be a small job. So now we're going to go ahead and place that on the soldering brick, and I am going to take the solder. Okay, it comes in a nice paste. It also comes in solid wire. It comes in little squares. There's a myriad of different types of solder you can use. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a little blob on the back so that we can secure this piece to the earring. Okay, and you don't need too much because it's going to flow. When it starts to flow, And you'll notice it if you can pay close attention. It might be hard to see on this video. I'm new at this, so just give me a break here. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and light the torch. Okay, and you want to be very careful with that. And then we're just going to go ahead and warm this up. And then I'm going to go ahead and start to melt down the solder. Okay, and it's going to start to flow, and it's going to look silver because it is a sterling silver solder. And it's going to adhere that piece to the earring. Okay, so you really want to get it nice and hot so it'll flow. See, it's going to turn red now, and now it's going to flow into the silver. And we are finished. Okay, so easy peasy, right? Now this could be a little tricky. I'm going to add the the ear stem to the back of it. So I have a small piece of 20 gauge wire, and I'm going to go ahead and add this to the back of the earring, which means I'm going to need another blob of our already fluxed silver, just above where I just fluxed, because you want the piece to be even. Okay. So what I'm going to do is now take that piece. Usually this torch lights itself, but I've dropped it 8 million times, so it doesn't anymore. All right, so we've got this nice and ready to go on here. We're going to put it inside the blob of solder. I'm sure there's a more technical name to it. I, of course, am going with blob. Okay, so again, we're going to warm this up, get the whole piece hot, and then you want to concentrate your flame on the area with the solder, of course. And of course, in a minute, that's going to start to flow, and when it does, it's going to adhere this ear stick to the earring. Okay, and sometimes it takes a minute, but usually with easy flow solder, it happens quite quickly, which is why I like it, and it doesn't require really a medium or hard flux to use, which are require higher temperatures, etc., etc. So here we go. It's starting to flow. That one took a little bit longer to flow, and just hold it there for a minute. And we're going to go ahead and release that. And now, as you see, we've got, like this one, we've got our ear hook attached. Okay. Now, I mentioned this in the other video, but normally because of the fire scale that will get on the items from firing it, I use what they call a pickle, which is a solution that you would soak this in for about 10-15 minutes and take it out, and it's going to take off all that char. Okay, but I'm going to skip that part because I'm going to show you a little bit with polishing of what I do and how you can also remove it. Okay, so we've got our very hot earrings, and our next step is going to be, of course, buffing and shining. So I'm just going to kind of give you a quick example of what I do and how much work goes into making a piece and, you know, having it shined and polished for your customer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and attach, this is like a scrubber. I call it a scrubber. I'm not sure what the exact word is for it, but it's going to help me remove some of that char from the earring. So what I'm going to do is turn this on low and just kind of go across it carefully. You know, you don't want to ruin your piece. And it's going to take a lot of that fire scale off of there. And it kind of saves you a step. I usually always use the pickle, though, just because I'm a perfectionist. But today, for the sake of I don't feel like it, that's what we're doing. Okay, so I'm going to get some of that fire scale off of there with this piece. Okay. And we're eventually going to trim this here, but for right now, it's always good just in case it falls off and we have to redo it. All right, the next step would be using a compound, rubbing compound, to get out any any dirt or debris that's on there. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to use one that's already pre-funked up with the compound. And I'm going to go ahead and, this would be the third step actually. And I'm going to shine this with the buffing pad. You're going to see just how beautifully these come out. I mean, it really does make a huge difference. Now, it will leave some black spots on here because the compound turns a funky color, like a blackish color. But you'll know it's done once you buff that part off. Okay, so we're going to kind of just speed up the process, but you get the idea of what we're doing here. Now, as you can see, compared to the other one, look at the difference. Let me put my hand on this here. I don't know if you can see the difference now, but it is quite a difference here. All right, so again, this is just going to be like my half-assed attempt at doing a quick tutorial. So we, of course, will do the same thing with the other earring. And at this point, we want to work harden the ear hooks now that we have them adhered on here properly. And we know they're not going anywhere. They're nicely soldered. We want to work harden that because the fire will make it anneal, which means it'll make it soft. So we put that on our bench block with my chasing hammer. And I'm going to spin this, kind of like we did in the other video, while I lightly hammer it. And it's going to go ahead and the properties of the metal will change. And it will be a harder metal. So, as you can see, it's much harder already. Or I guess as I can see. And you just want to get a nice shape to it. Don't do it too hard. But we want to get the job done. Okay, so now this is nice and solid. Ready to go in somebody's ear. So I'm going to take our flush cutters. And you want to make sure it's very straight. Okay, and you can always straighten it at any time, even if it's been work hardened. But since I like to be a perfectionist, that's what I'm going to do. So you give you an approximation of how much you're going to need to put the backing on and also let it go through your ear. So I'm going to guesstimate about here. Okay. So what we've got is the backing adhered on by the solder. And our last step is I like to take, you've seen this little guy before. This is my burr smoother. You're going to take the end of the tip. There's a little cup that's on this tool that you put the end part of the wire in. We're going to go ahead and do so for a minute and rotate it a little bit to get a nice smooth round end, because you don't want this to be all scraggly for your customer when they put it in their ear. You want it to go in nice and smoothly, and also so the backing goes on nice and smooth as well. So go ahead and take care of that. Now, as you can see, we've got a more rounded edge, and it will hold the backing very nicely. And today I'm going to use these little flower backings. Look like this. Okay, they're a little hard to see because they're clear. I prefer to use these rubber ones over the metal ones because they're hypoallergenic, and I think that they last longer and just feel better on your ears. So we'll go ahead and slide that on the earring. And what we have is now one earring from 2 out of 2. So that is that. And I thank everybody for joining me. I'm having a lot of fun doing this, and I will definitely do something that's not as using as advanced techniques as this one. And then we can do something together if you like, and you can create something, and I'll make the materials as simple as possible so you don't have to go out and buy a whole bunch of stuff. So I would like to thank everybody who took the time to take a gander at my second tutorial. And I hope you all have a wonderful evening. And thanks for stopping by Incantations by Karen.